Athletic, bold, commanding, the Equinox EV helps you show up in style. Looking good on the golf course is still going to be up to you, but you'll look great with the Chevy EV. Look, this thing's awesome. The Equinox EV is awesome, and this show's awesome. It's U.S. Open time. We are so hyped up for this week. Carnage, difficulty, the hardest golf course on the planet Earth, and we got to see all of it play out. So we do an immediate Sunday night reaction immediately after the last putt drops. JJ Spaun, we get into all of it, gentlemen. It's all brought to you by Chevy.
Amazing time to be a golf fan, as it always is after a major, particularly after a historic one like Oakmont, with all these guys finishing over par, JJ Spaun hitting that long putt, the whole deal. We get into it. It's been crazy bad weather, I feel like, for the last month on Long Island, with little spurts of really good weather when you can go out and golf. But when it's bad, it's just rain. The other day I was driving on the Southern State Parkway and I saw this blacked out Chevy Equinox EV. No joke. I'm just kind of humming right to the right of me, right through the rain. The way that paint job on that Equinox EV kind of just caught my eye, and it was just piercing right through the rain. Awesome looking car. I absolutely love seeing it out in the wild. The Chevy Equinox EV is a showstopper. If you've ever seen one, you got to go check them out.
They are absolutely fantastic. Leave the driving to Equinox EV and show up to the course energized with available Super Cruise hands-free driver assistance technology. Equinox EV's got the massive 17-inch diagonal center screen. When it comes to EVs, Equinox EV is the smartest choice you can make. Let's talk U.S. Open. After all these years, he's our guy.
Yeah, pretty good for a doorman. You know, I have my history with JJ Spaun. We kind of saw eye to eye. Luckily, it was via the screen and it wasn't in person, or else we wouldn't have seen eye to eye. It would have been a little bit more difficult. But you know what? At the end of the day, I can't be throwing these digs at him anymore. This guy is a stone cold fucking killer. He grabbed his balls and just dropped them on the 18th green at Oakmont.
Foreplay, presented by Barstool Sports. It is the United States Open, the 125th United States Open Championship recap. JJ Spaun really injected some late life into this event. We got a ton of stuff to break down. Oakmont, Rory, Scottie, the leaderboard late. Weather was a huge factor. It just was kind of a chaotic event, if we're going to be honest, with all kinds of chaos occurring in different elements, in different people, throughout the media. It was a little bit of everything, but it finished with about as iconic of a finish as you could possibly have. JJ Spaun coming out of absolutely nowhere after getting completely fucked earlier in the round, more times than I've ever seen. The second hole, what happened to him was horrific, with him hitting the pin, going off like a two-shot swing by just a terrible break. Really seemingly nobody wanted to grab that tournament by the horns. And then all of a sudden, JJ Spaun makes a bomb on 12 and then hits that 6 shot on 17. Unbelievable putt on 18. And this thing's over. But yeah, we could start with JJ Spaun, boys. Our guy. After all these years, he's our guy.
Yeah, pretty good for a doorman, as Colt Nose just tweeted at me. You know, I have my history with JJ Spaun. He came on this show after his bout with Rory McIlroy at the Players' Championship. You know, we've definitely had our highs and lows. I feel like we're coming off of somewhat of a high of that interview where we kind of saw eye to eye. Luckily, it was via the screen and it wasn't in person, or else we wouldn't have seen eye to eye. It would have been a little bit more difficult. But you know what? At the end of the day, I can't be throwing these digs at him anymore. This guy is a stone cold fucking killer. He is just grabbed the world. He grabbed his balls and just dropped them on the 18th green at Oakmont. Like, that's simply what he did. What was that? Like a 100-foot putt? How long was that?
64. Longest putt of the entire week.
Longest putt of the entire week. He also comes out at Oakmont where everyone was like, uh-oh, the boogeyman, the golf course is coming out to get people. He went bogeyless. He went, what did he go, 3 under in the first
66
day?
66 he shot.
66 he shot, sick. 4 under Thursday round, completely perfect round of golf. Hung around all 4 days, and at the very end, like I said, drops his nuts on the 18th green at the most iconic golf course. Pretty incredible stuff from JJ Spaun. The guy is, I think, 30, 34, 35 years old, kind of a journeyman PGA Tour member. Hasn't really gotten it going, but this year has caught a little bit of fire, and yeah, he's just really impressive stuff from JJ. And to see him close that out and not mess up, that rain started to come down on 18. It's just when that rain, when he pulled out the umbrella again on the fairway on 18, I'm like, he's got to be thinking, what do I got to do to win one of these things? What do I got to do right now? Who doesn't want me to win? And then, yeah, just an amazing performance. So shout out to JJ Spaun, man. Like, the guy flipped me off, calls me pizza boy, and then wins the US Open. He is my daddy. It's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to JJ Spaun. You are my daddy.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. Even when he does these interviews, he's holding the US Open trophy and he still doesn't seem sure of himself. He said something to the effect of like, I still don't know what my ceiling is. And it's like, hey man, you're standing on the 18th green in Oakmont, one of the hardest golf courses in the world. A bunch of the big names didn't even make the cut. It's like, it's you, Sam Burns, Adam Scott, Victor Hovland. Like, these are the guys who are in the mix and who could potentially win. And you just won. You went birdie on the last 2 holes. Like, you are a guy who can win a tournament like this. It's like when you watch a Scottie win or like a Brooks win or a Rory win, they never have the conversation with the interviewer of, I just didn't know if I was good enough to win this tournament, because they are guys who have been their entire lives told, you have the most talent. If you just put it to work, you can win as many golf tournaments as you want. And JJ Spaun is not like that at all. He's talked a lot about it. He's gotten more light recently because of the thing that happened with Rory at the Players. And I'm sure some of that doubt crept into his mind after that. And it certainly crept into his mind after the shot on 17 during the playoff. It's just like, I don't know what I got to do. Do I have it in me to win these big golf tournaments? And then he ends up winning one, and he's still out there being like, I don't know what my ceiling is. So I think he's just like a very interesting guy to hear talk about his golf game, to talk about what he thinks he's going to get from his career. And yeah, I mean, that putt on 18 it's something we're going to be watching for the rest of our lives.
A couple of those views that they showed of that putt on 18, I'm so glad they showed some alternate views. I know Alan Shipnuck tweeted one out, and then they had the camera angle from behind him where you could actually see the break and how preposterous that green is, because from the sky, especially after, I feel like once the rain gets on the grass, it almost gets like a little bit darker and it all looks like the same. The green, like, just looks like a flat kind of green. That lag putt was ridiculous. I think if you go put any of us out there trying to lag that thing close is impossible. And he's got to do it to win the US Open, and he jars the damn thing. I was so kind of glad to see he got that break where Hovland's ball was right behind his because of all the shit breaks he had gotten earlier in the round. He kind of deserved it. And then to have the walk-off like that on that green was absolutely sick. Yeah, JJ, he had that comment in his presser right after where he was saying, like, I actually never thought I would ever be standing here holding this trophy. It's like when Rory's winning the Masters, he's like, I always envisioned myself in the green jacket. It's just about time I finally got it done. Where JJ's like, I never, ever thought that I would be up here holding this U.S. Open trophy with this medal around my neck. So unbelievably cool. I was on the same flight with Todd Martin and JJ Spaun out to Pittsburgh a week ago on Sunday night. And it was very funny. Last time I saw JJ Spaun in person, he was letting like me and Todd Martin walk by off the plane because he had to unfold baby strollers and legit had like 2 kids. He was getting his kids all strapped into the strollers. He was carrying like 11 different bags. I'm sure he had diapers. He had all kinds of stuff. He was carrying his wife's stuff. His wife was there, and it was just like a normal family man. And then next time I really see him, he's up there making that putt on the 72nd hole. So he really is just like a pretty goddamn normal, like humble dude. He's clearly not a DJ or whatever when it comes to like athletic ability. He's a littler guy. He doesn't strike you as someone that would be just ripping the ball down the fairways at Oakmont. But boy, oh boy, I know the Golf Channel guys did a little breakdown on Saturday night about his golf swing. And Brando was basically saying like he might have like as good a golf swing as anybody on planet Earth right now, the way that he hits the golf ball. And so for him to come out and get those bad breaks and then hit the shots down the stretch. I mean, he had 3 birdies on the last 7 holes when everyone else was making just a complete mess of things. That tee shot on 17 was insane. I mean, we're watching like TYRELL Hatton, almost had to off himself, it felt like, after where his ball ended up on 17 in that down slope, and then he chips onto the upslope, and he's just trying everything he can to keep it on the rails. But it's so easy for a ball to end up in that area, and it's such a small little sliver to hit your drive up onto the green on 17, and for him to hit it to 15 feet or whatever the hell he hit it to was insane. And then 18 is the hardest hole on the course. Every time they pan to somebody, I feel like they've got like 40 feet for par on 18. Like they don't even show how they got there. They just the whole time it's like, oh yeah, now here he is trying to get this one in, and par. He drove it into the rough, he chipped out, and now he's got this par look in for JJ Spaun to rip one down the middle, hit a 6-iron in there, and then make the putt. Yeah, it was just grab your nutsack kind of stuff. So what a journey it's been for that man, and for us to have that relationship with him on this show is very funny.
I love when Brandel always gets like jazzed up about the best golfers of the tournament having the best swings at those moments. He's always like, this guy's got the best swing in the world right now. It's like he's about to win the US Open. Like, he's finding the slot, Brandel. But yeah, man, I mean, it brought all the things you want in a major. And I think everyone wants the course to win, and they want the course, and everyone makes jokes about it. Is the course fighting back? And the course fought back. Obviously got a little bit of help from the weather. But honestly, that was kind of twofold. Like the weather was letting guys attack the golf course on Thursday. It was soft. There was no wind. The guys that went off early in the morning were kind of just ripping the golf course apart. They were making birdies, except for our guy Alistair. He got off to a tough start. Got a real tough start.
Doubled his first hole.
Doubled the first hole and just never really clawed back. Hard golf course, as he would say. But yeah, man, I mean, I really enjoyed this, even with the names up there. Like usually you need those Scottie, the Rahms, the Rory McIlroys, and then you looked at this leaderboard and it was like JJ Spaun, Victor Hovland, Adam Scott, Robbie McIntyre. Like there's all these names up there and you're still on the edge of your seat being like, who is going to pull this one out? And that just goes to show, like, when a course is that hard and it's that entertaining and there's so much that leads up to it, you really don't care who wins in the end. You just want to see who pulls it out and how did they get there. There's really no one had a rooting interest in this one unless you had a DraftKings slip at the end of it. Like, there's no way anyone was pulling that hard for Victor Hovland or Robert McIntyre or JJ Spaun. So if you said that, then you just had a bet on it or you're lying.
I do think without JJ's putt on the 72nd hole, this tournament would be remembered by the golf course. Like, it'd just be a lot of Oakmont talk. And I think it still will be that way. But JJ's putt is going to be probably the first thing people talk about. But all weekend, and certainly Saturday and Sunday, you got the real Oakmont. And that was really fun. And if you're going to get, like, if Bryson's going to get, if he's not going to make the cut, or JT's not going to make the cut, or the big names aren't going to make the cut, you have to have something that's going to bring people in. And I think Oakmont getting really, really hard. I think the rain starting to come on Sunday, like, that got people talking. You got people like texting their friends being like, are you seeing what this golf course is doing to these golfers? Like, you're not going to, I don't know if you'll get as big of a number as you got, certainly not the Masters, but like, the golf course showing its teeth really, really gave this golf tournament an identity to a certain extent.
Yeah, there was a stretch in this round of golf on Sunday, unlike any stretch I've ever seen, where everyone was just backing up at the same time. It was like, it felt like, you looked up and the leader was one over, and they start talking about Jon Rahm at 4 over. Now has a legitimate chance, and you're like, no. 20 minutes ago, the leaders were like 2 under par. What are you talking about? And there were multiple people under par, and then it just happened so fast. And it was so unlike any really golf viewing that we get, in that it was such a premium on hitting the fairway. And it was like every time somebody missed a fairway today, it was an auto bogey at best. It was like auto bogey. And you just don't really get that. And I do sort of agree, even more so than I did beforehand, with the notion of I don't want that every week, but I did love it for this. It was such a different type of test than we usually get. It does take away a lot of the recovery shot, right? Like, if you look at a lot of the cool moments from the Masters, it was like Rory hitting these shots through the trees after missing a fairway, some towering shot that like drops out of nowhere next to the hole, and everybody's like, oh my fucking God. Or the shot he hit on 15 where he like hooks that 7-iron around the trees and hits it to like 4 feet for eagle, where it's like, if you hit it usually behind what would be a tree or in the rough or whatever at Oakmont, you're just like chipping out. So you don't get any of that, but what you do get is the fucking chaos and carnage and frustration. What you get is like truly the golf course pushing the best players in the world to their limit, to the point where we had multiple Rory McIlroy club throws. We had him breaking tee markers. We had him losing his mind with the media. We're going to get to the interview that he had at some point, which was one of the most ridiculous interviews I feel like I've ever heard from him. We had Scottie Scheffler standing on the driving range with his coach, losing his mind, his hat sideways. We had Wyndham Clark is getting roasted everywhere. People are saying he should lose his exemptions into major championships because he was smashing lockers after a round at Oakmont. And like, that's just not really what we get any other week. And it takes a golf course like this to push people to that edge. Like, Adam Scott is the most cool, calm, collected customer on the planet. And even a couple mics coming down the stretch when he was missing fairways, you could hear him just being like, God, what am I doing? Like, it's just so frustrating. And to see just a golf course push these players to a place that they're never really pushed to, I think is so awesome. It's so riveting to see how they handle it. And it's not like surprising that maybe the most kind of like monotone, chill, like guy out there is the guy that ends up getting it done. You don't really see any emotion out of him at all. And it might not make him the most riveting player. He's not like really fist bumping or going crazy out there. But when it comes to Oakmont rattling everybody else to their fucking core to the point where they're breaking shit and they're yelling at their coaches and him just being steady Eddie and getting it done. I really did think it was about the golf course. And I think as I was watching it, I was like, this is not like any other golf we see like ever.
Yeah, shout out to TYRELL Hatton, because the fact that everyone else's cool was being engulfed in flames throughout the whole week, he kind of kept a level head. At the end, it started to slip away from him a little bit. He started finding himself into some bad lies, looking at a lot of rough, looking down at rough with his hands up. Couldn't believe that he was making bogeys, missing the fairway. But all in all, the fact that we didn't get a TYRELL Hatton like helicopter club twirl into the stands, with the fact that everyone else, I mean, you got Wyndham Clark out there allegedly destroying 100-year-old lockers. Like, the fact that TYRELL Hatton didn't light that place on fire is a win for everybody in Pennsylvania. So I just want to give a shout out to him. I thought he played great. I thought he kept his cool as best as he could. Before we get into all those kind of crazinesses and all the interviews and all that, got to talk about Sam Burns real quick. That's our guy. We went shooting with him. We shot. That's the very first gun I ever shot, was a shotgun in Sam Burns's like playground backyard in the wilderness in Louisiana, wherever the hell we were. Were we in Louisiana?
We were.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just a great guy, Dr. Brett McCabe guy, Scottie SCHEFFLER guy. Showed us the best time that we've had in a long, long time in a video. We really, really enjoyed our time with Sam Burns, and to see him kind of throw it away a little bit. It's hard to say throw it away at Oakmont, but like, what did he finish? Like 8 over, something like that. 8 or
he shot a 78 today, so
78.
He was 8 over.
So the rain delay definitely got to him. Right when they came back, he made a double bogey. Adam Scott made a bogey, and that's when they went from 2 under and even to 1 over and 2 over, whatever it was. And that's when everyone got back into the tournament. His standing water situation, he got fucked. Like, this golf course was completely flooded. You can tell that they were just trying to get it in. There was no chance at that point that they were going to end up coming back the next day, doing the whole thing. No way were they taking another weather relief or a weather timeout. No chance. And he's standing in the fairway, right on the edge of the fairway, in between that and the first cut. And he's just standing in water. I mean, one of the guys on Twitter, I think it was Porter or whatever. One of the guys, Porter on Twitter. What's his first name? Kyle Porter. Tweeted out a video of him standing in the spot that Sam Burns had to hit from. He called over an official. They said it was not standing water. He had to hit it. You see the contact come up. It's like he hit Splash Mountain. A complete puddle comes flying everywhere. The ball goes nowhere. He's looking around like, how the fuck did that just happen to me at the U.S. Open of all places? You're playing in like the most elite championship in the world, and you're like, I have to hit out of that right now? That's chaos. And then Porter goes over, steps on it. Water's filling up this thing like it's a well. I've never seen water come bubbling out of divots like this in my entire life. And then he showed, for reference, the other side of the fairway was as freaking firm as a mat at Golf Galaxy. It was perfect on the other side of the fairway. So got fucked, completely ruined his mojo, especially after coming back after the rain delay. So he got fucked. I don't know what you guys think about that, but to me, like, I was sick to my stomach for our guy Sam Burns. He never could recover after that.
I think he got fucked. Yeah, I mean, he got a second opinion, which I didn't even know was allowed. You call over a rules official.
I didn't know that either.
That was like, can you get a third, fourth? I'd keep calling guys over until one guy agreed with me. But he called the first guy over. The guy was like, no, that's not standing water. You got to hit the ball. Waited for a second opinion. The next guy also said the same thing. Listen, I'm not a guy who knows a ton about the rules. That's really not my thing. But when you see the videos, and listen, Sam Burns, he's a professional golfer. He kind of knows what's going on. I don't think he's the type of guy who's like trying to get an edge illegally. Like, he's like, I'm standing in water. It's been raining for the last 6 hours. We just got off a delay. It's clearly raining a lot. And a lot of guys were asking for a lot of relief. I think once you see the videos, it seems like he got fucked, and it completely screwed up the rest of his round, and he never got it back.
Yeah, that was on 15 too. So he made double on 15. And it's like, it's over at that point. You know, he went from like 1 over to 3 over at that point. And that was right about when Robert McIntyre got in at like 1 over. So you're like, oh, it's over. I mean, he's not going to play 2 under coming home. He was rattled about that. He got completely fucked. And I think it's always interesting. The USGA, very, very, very much just wants to be, as Happy Gilmore as you could be. Like, play the ball as it lies. They don't like, mud balls. They don't care. Whatever. It's like they're going to be leaning always towards not giving relief, which in that situation I think was just complete bullshit. I think it was very obvious that was like legit standing water. Trying to hit out of a puddle when you hit it into the fairway is just not fair. That's like not what it should come down to. And that whole part of it was that was when it was, you were starting to feel bad for the fact that you had two things that you understand but aren't like great, which is like the course is probably not really like fully playable and they needed some time for it to dry and get out there and squeegee and all that, but they're out of time. Like, they just simply were out of time. It's like they have to finish this golf tournament and they cannot have any more delays, because if this thing goes into Monday, that's just a nightmare. They lose all their ratings. They lose everything. They bring everybody back out. It's just an absolute nightmare. So they were in that spot where you could feel it as the viewer. You're right, Frankie, of like, they're just trying to get this thing in no matter what. And that was an awkward feeling because you don't want the championship to come down to that. And that clearly played a huge factor. Now, I still think like JJ Spaun was the best guy, hit the best shots under the biggest moments and got the W. But couldn't you guys like feel that in that first part of that back nine after the restart of like, oh my God, this is like kind of crazy that they're like determining this tournament in wildly different conditions than it was an hour and a half ago, to the point where there's like puddling water. It started raining again. So then you're like, well, this golf course can't take on any more water. So if it starts like pooling on the greens, are they just going to be like running out there squeegeeing it? There was that clip of, I think, of what, Cam Young, maybe, I think, who was like wanted to hit a putt because there was water behind the hole that was going to stop his ball. But like the USGA demanded they come out and squeegee it and stuff. So the whole point is like when shit like that's going on and the Sam Burns ruling is going on, it does make you feel a little bit like, like Oakmont and the US Open should be determined not by this kind of bullshit, but just by the golf. And so it's an outdoor sport. There's nothing you can really do about it. But I did think that was like a little bit of a bummer in the middle of it there, like once they came back from the restart.
I think even Justin Thomas tweeted something like, it's looking like a little questionable, this golf course out here. And I think he's right. And I mean, I'm sure it was the USGA wanting to get it done. Like, let's finish on Sunday. That's how we want it. It wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world for it to go to Monday. But I mean, it does seem like I think we did sort of swerve into territory where it was like, it's barely a golf course right now. It's barely a golf course. And that's tough.
Yeah, things that aren't about the golf came into play, unfortunately. So, and they'll never admit that, but you just know that there were meetings. They're all sitting there inside the clubhouse, wherever they are, and they're like, we're just going to keep powering through. Is it, arguable that we can finish this out? Someone probably said, yes, you could technically finish this out. And they said, let's just run on with it. Yeah, they just like missed some spots to be able to squeegee it. I mean, you have to cover a surface area. These guys were on 15. You're talking a really large space that they had to try and dry off while it was still raining. So, the grounds crew did as good as they could. And yeah, some guys are going to get fucked in that situation. Sam Burns happened to be one of them. So it sucks when it comes down to something like that. But honestly, the amount of water, and if you're listening to this and you're like, well, he's an athlete, like, and all these guys like hit bad shot, like, go watch the video on Twitter and see how much water he actually hit out of. It's actually insane. He was basically like in a water hazard. I mean, the ball was like submerged in water, right. and he had to go hit this like iron onto like the hardest green in the world. Yeah,
five iron. That hole's like 510 yards long.
Right.
And
it was an impossible shot. He was complaining, got two different opinions. They all said no. They probably got someone in the ear being like, you got to hold your ground there. Got to hold your ground there. We got to keep this thing moving.
Yeah, and then he hooked that one into the. He's not going to hit a good shot after that.
No,
of course. Like
I get it opens up a can of worms. It's like because they weren't going to stop play. So like if you reward that, then like they were in their minds, they're probably thinking we're about to encounter so many more weather situations in which like if that happens, we are not going to finish like that. Like if every single guy gets alerted that now we're doing like lift clean in place or like embedded balls or standing water, like this is a situation which we're never going to get out of and we're just going to finish on Monday. And once they decided they didn't want to do that, they couldn't hand out any decisions.
That sucks.
Well,
It might have
yeah.
cost Sam Burns a U.S. Open title. That's the only bitch.
The thing that I don't even know the ruling on, like, where's the line on standing water now, because they were giving relief for standing water. It was like Adam Scott hit one down the middle of the fairway at one hole, and he was like in a puddle, and of course you get like relief from that, and they were deeming, I think I heard them say on the broadcast that like if the water's not visible, they don't get relief or something, which is ridiculous.
That's crazy. So
like,
they just drew the line on wherever they thought was water.
Well, I guess I don't know. That's what I'm saying, is I don't know what the actual rule is. I think if it might be that like water is visible and they were just standing there being like, technically you can't see this water, even though I feel it and you feel it. Yeah, I don't know where that line is. And I guess that's kind of where the issue came in. And it just, he got completely screwed. And I wouldn't know that either, because that's also one, like anytime you're playing golf with people, if you're in anywhere close to what somebody would think is standing water, you're like, yeah, of course, dude. Like, just move it to a spot that's like drier, obviously. So it's like,
just gonna move that ball.
You're just gonna move that ball. It's never really a problem. So that part again was kind of a bummer, but we did get to see, like Thursday, Friday, we got to see some pretty awesome Oakmont, where all day Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it was sunny and it was able to dry out a decent amount. And there was good wind up until like the tournament started, and you started to see it get a little bit spicy at times. Dude, seeing some of these shots like land on that first green and just bounce and roll all the way off that first green was incredible. Seeing people play the third hole. The third hole is just such an absolute beast with that huge false front, and it goes to show you that like you can really trick these guys, because even all day today with the Sunday pin, it was like everybody that kind of missed on that false front was chipping it 15 feet past the hole, because you couldn't risk kind of having it come back down again. So again, those types of like strategic spots that you put these guys into, they just don't get tested to that level very often. It's usually they could just kind of stop the ball near the hole whenever they need to. So that part of it was really awesome. The 10th hole was another one where it was like, until it got really wet, watching people try to like stop the ball in that green without it running off, because the green was sloped front to back, was super fun to watch. So yeah, overall, I mean, Oakmont is phenomenal. And I also thought what's really interesting about it too is there are plenty of birdie opportunities. Like when guys were hitting fairways, they were making birdies. It was like somebody, I think who was it, like maybe Rahm or Brooks or somebody had like 8 birdies and like 10 bogeys or something through the first couple rounds. It's like, oh yeah, you're making a good amount of birdies. It's not like they're impossible out there. It just was whenever guys missed the fairway by a little bit, they were completely fucked. And it was wild too, seeing like balls go into the rough, take one bounce on the first land, and then just disappear. Like usually you watch the ball, you can see it bouncing quite a bit until it comes to rest. And man, the rough was just eating golf balls. And that part of it, which when you don't get to see that very often, was cool. It was entertaining, and watching guys have to try to like figure out what the hell to do from there was awesome. And you did see some cool like recovery-ish shots, like Adam Scott hit one on whatever that was, 14 today, where he kind of hit one of the bunker. He chipped out sideways, it didn't get out of the rough. Then he hit this sick like wedge that landed in the middle of the green and like skipped all the way back to the pin. He had a real par look. So you saw a lot of cool stuff, but yeah, that golf course, man, hardest golf course in the world. And overall, I just think seeing the fact that one player was under par when everybody is so good now, they all hit it so far. Everybody talks about how the equipment is so good that it's like almost cheating for these guys to be that good. And to have one person finish under par is pretty damn awesome, especially with the rain and the course getting a little bit softer. So yeah, Oakmont's fucking great.
I was worried. I woke up Thursday morning and saw some low scores, and I was like, oh no. Like I was going to be really bummed if we had that whole conversation last week, me, you, Beef, and we were like, oh, it might be double digit over par, might end up winning this golf tournament. And then if like 12 under won it, I was going to be really depressed, because then if Oakmont can't do it, almost nowhere can do it. So we still need golf courses like this. And the fact that it took until the last putt of the tournament, almost, there were a couple groups behind him, but like for a guy to get under par and the rest of the field over par, that makes me feel warm inside that can still happen with the golfers that are in the world now, with the equipment, with all the stuff. The fact that only one guy was able to do it, that's good. That's good stuff.
Yeah, made for great television. Great television. It's really all you're asking for. I mean, the Beefs of the world, I don't know what you're looking for out of a golf tournament like that. Like that to me was very, very entertaining. Every time a guy missed a fairway, we were all sitting on the couch being like, oh shit, he's fucked. And like that, you don't get that very often. You get that in YouTube videos when guys are not that good at golf. You don't get that in professional golf. You know, everything's just fairway, green, make a long putt. Who can make the most birdies coming in? And this is like, who can survive? And that's just such a different style of golf to be able to watch.
The Stanley Cup Finals are here, and the only place to buy hard to get finals tickets is Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. We've seen all kinds of stuff in the playoffs so far. You want to get to a game, your chance, your opportunity is running out. Game Time is going to be able to get you to Stanley Cup Finals, NBA Finals, MLB games, all kinds of summer concerts that you want to go to. Game Time is going to make all that possible, boys.
Summertime. You got to start going to events. It's getting warm out there, really warm, but there's baseball games, there's concerts, there's plays, there's everything. Go on Game Time, put in your location. It'll show you every single event that's going on around you, and they will give you the best price. That's why they are the best ticket app.
My dad called me and goes, what are you doing today? I was like, oh, we're with the baby, your grandson. He's, oh, all right. We're getting tickets on Game Time to Dave Matthews at Jones Beach.
Ooh.
I'm like, have you ever listened to Dave Matthews in your entire life? He goes, nope. Just going to go. Went on Game Time, GT Picks, went to Dave Matthews, said he had a great time. Him and my mom, my aunt went with them. They just went from BORRELLI'S. My dad goes, you wouldn't believe how many people recognized me. I said, oh, really? He goes, yeah, I wore that Barstool hockey jersey there. It was a huge Barstool logo hockey jersey he wore to a concert. Everyone's like, oh, Mr. Borrelli from Barstool.
Yep.
He's like, I can't believe it. You recognize me. But he went on Game Time and he loved it. He, the nice amphitheater. So the fact you're able to just go on there, I'm looking right now, there's Creed is coming in July to the Jones Beach Amphitheater.
Wow.
You're going to have to go and see that. If, I might be there if you get tickets. So it's just a great time right now. This is it. This is entertainment. Sports are on. Sports are going live. Concerts are heavy right now. Heavy. Every weekend there's 3, 4, even during the week. So make sure you go check it out.
I'm looking right now. We got the CONCACAF Gold Cup quarterfinals coming up right here in Arizona. You can go on to the GT Picks and get all kinds of great deals on there. $93. You want to be way down, kind of almost on the field. $232. So I got all kinds of great deals. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. You download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code FORE, F-O-R-E, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code FORE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game Time. Truly Unruly Lemonade. They combine the high alc fun of Truly Unruly with everybody's favorite, which is lemonade. Lemonade let loose, 8% ABV, 100% delicious. They've got 4 supercharged lemonade flavors: Bumpin' Blue Raz, OG Original Lemonade, Punched Up Pineapple, Wild Pink. Everybody's been enjoying these this year at the Barstool Classics, gentlemen.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm heading to Omaha, Nebraska for the next stop of the Barstool Classic. There will be a lot of Truly there. There will be a lot of Truly Unruly. They'll be flowing. Like you said, we've had probably about 10 stops so far. Every single one, people have been enjoying these Truly. So try the lemonade. We love lemonade. It's delicious. Truly also delicious. You combine those two things, it's a winner.
Speaking of the Omaha Classic, a couple weeks ago during the playoff run for the Tampa Bay Lightning, I got a message saying that Jake Gensel wanted to play in that Barstool Classic in Omaha, and I think things have kind of filtered out. I asked if they wanted to play, whatever, but that was a name that was like, whoa, that guy's pretty freaking legit, and he was looking to play in the Omaha Classic, and then I realized, I looked it up, he's from that area, so I was like, wow, the more you know. That's going to be great. But he could have been there and enjoying nice Truly lemonades. Those things are fantastic. What a golf course that's going to be, by the way. We went there and we filmed during our little trip through the Midwest.
Our RV trip, yeah.
Our RV trip. What's the name of that golf course called?
Shadow something?
Oh, Shadow Ridge.
Shadow Ridge.
Shadow Ridge.
Jake Gensel played college hockey at the University of Nebraska, Omaha.
Yeah, there you go. Omaha guy.
Look at that. It is the official hard seltzer of Foreplay. Level up your lemonade with Truly Unruly. Find Truly Unruly Lemonade at a store near you or visit www.trulyhardseltzer.com.
Yeah, Oakmont definitely lived up to the hype. It turned people into complete lunatics. I mean, Wyndham Clark has been on quite the run of damaging golf course and sponsor. I mean, 2 weeks ago, was it 2 weeks ago where he like broke the T-Mobile? Was that at the PGA?
Or it might have been at the
That was his
PGA.
PGA Championship.
PGA Championship. He broke the T-Mobile wall that was like the tee box wall that was behind him. And now there's reports coming out from No Laying Up. I don't know how they got that source from inside the Oakmont locker room that it was Wyndham Clark. Maybe it's just because the two lockers on either side of Wyndham Clark's locker were caved in, like he took two legs and just smashed it in. But you're talking 100-year-old lockers. And then there was a lot of locker room talk, a lot of locker talk on Twitter and Instagram. Our guy Links Gems put up a very, very heartfelt message about the lockers at Oakmont. It is. I'll give my take. I'll hear what you guys have to say. I mean, I think it is hilarious that we dive this deep into when golfers get mad.
Yep.
But that is just disrespect of, someone else's property. You're a guest at an elite all-time historical club. You're like lucky enough to be in that locker room, to be able to use those facilities. Everyone's kind of walking on hallowed grounds. Like, you wouldn't do that at Augusta. Why would you do it at Oakmont? And like the fact that someone can lose their temper that bad. And I get it's sports, and I get like you want to have passion. They want to win that bad. I've always referenced with golfers getting angry, like Paul O'Neill being in the dugout of the New York Yankees dugout in the late 90s, early 2000s, taking a literal baseball bat and destroying every single water cooler he could see in sight, telling people to go fuck themselves, taking bats, throwing them onto the field, and us as fans being like, that is amazing. That's the best thing I've ever seen. Guys smashing bats over their legs. And then a golfer gets angry and it's like, whoa, like the kids are watching. Like you should be like suspended from the tour. Like kick them off the tour, Doug. I like fall in between, as I always do on all these situations. I take it situation by situation. This one in particular is dog shit out of Wyndham Clark, I think. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. That's insanity to be just like damaging the locker room. I mean, like, at some point, like you have to have some sort of level head on you. You can't just like crash your car into like the clubhouse. Like, you know what I mean? Like at some point you can't just like keep getting mad where like you start damage. Like that's like someone else's property. It's someone else's, you know what I mean? Like you can't just like damage everything because you're mad. Like he like missed a couple of putts in a golf tournament and he's just like mad and he's like damaging everything. I mean, it's crazy.
Happy Father's Day. We finally got Dad Frankie on the podcast. You can't damage this property. That's not.
Well, no, I think it's a pretty normal take to be like, that's like crazy to be doing that.
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, as crazy as this is going to sound, I don't know if it's up to Wyndham. Like he had an entire Netflix episode that was dedicated to him, like trying to calm down, basically. Like this guy clearly has the anger. Like we all know guys who have the anger, and it's just like when it doesn't go their way, and like we've played sports with these guys or whatever. Whatever happens, they go Carlos Zambrano as soon as they get in the locker room, and you're just like, all right, that's sort of how he gets it out. And in golf, it's all eggshells. It's everything you referenced. And people do start getting a little think PC and a little bit like, I don't know about all this. But this is just who he is. Like, if you're watching Wyndham Clark, we've seen it enough times that if there's 100-year-old locker, he's going to break that no problem. I mean, he can just, those things, you push them a little bit and they're going to snap in half. Like, Wyndham Clark is a guy who's got the anger and he's got the rage. And like, I don't know, he can try to change. He can try to get a sports psychologist all he wants, but when things don't go his way, he's going to break stuff. And how am I going to stop him?
Like kind of crazy. Like Wyndham Clark's just that guy. He's going to fucking cave lockers inside Oakmont. It's like, holy shit, dude.
But that's what you're saying. That's who Paul O'Neill was. That's who Carlos Zambrano was.
I know. Yeah.
Bro, when these guys, like, they just have it. They're really super, super competitive. It's a super competitive atmosphere. The guys that really want to win, you're at the top of your sport. Doesn't go your way. You might break something. And that's who Wyndham Clark is. And if he's just going to have to live with that label. That's where it goes on him, where it's like, you are Wyndham Clark. Every time you do something like this, you say, I'm going to learn from this and I'm going to be better. That's not happening. This is just who you are. And that's the label that you have to live with.
It's obviously like breaking a locker, especially at Oakmont, it's a terrible look. And it's like a shitty thing to do. I don't know how it was handled after that. Like that part of it is kind of big to me, where it's like, dude, if he did that damage locker and then he just left, went in his car and just left, that's very, very different than if he walks by the attendant 5 minutes later after he showers and it's like, hey man, I'm fucking losing my shit over there. I broke a couple things. how can I possibly pay for this? For, you know, I don't know, like how all that goes down. As crazy as it sounds, that kind of matters to me. I'm always a little surprised by the locker room meltdown because I think a lot of the other stuff, like throwing clubs and breaking shit and whatever in like real time when you're really like mad in that moment, like I understand, but like to be holding on to that and then like 20 minutes later when you get back to your locker, then be like, like losing your shit in the locker room. I always find that to be a little nuts just because I feel like most people would get over it pretty quickly. So I'm kind of, I'm a little bit torn too, where it's like, I don't think Wyndham Clark should be condemned as like the worst person on the planet, not allowed to play golf because he got mad and was throwing shit. But the locker room stuff, especially, is like a horrible look. I think that like Rory, there's a difference between throwing a club and then like when he like smashed and broke the T marker thing, like that kind of seems to push people over the edge a little bit. But it's also a really good point, Trent, of like they're not in that moment, he's not sitting there thinking and calculating like, okay, I'm going to break that thing now because that will satisfy this certain amount of anger. It's just like you're just fucking losing your mind real quick. And everybody's kind of been there to some degree, whether you kind of show it or not. Golf's incredibly frustrating, sports, competitive, all that. So yeah, he's clearly got a history. It was the PGA, not that like just throwing his driver as hard as he can. I don't know how you even throw a driver and like break the whole tee box like he did at the PGA. That was kind of amazing. And it being like T-Mobile, which is a sponsor, where we like interviewed him at T-Mobile that week, is very, very like amazing that all kind of happened at the same time. But yeah, I think he probably gets overly condemned. It's a very shitty look, very shitty thing to do. And I understand if you have a personal connection, like our good friend Links Gyms with the lockers at Oakmont, then you're going to be quite offended by that. I think that's fine. I agree, but with that, but yeah, it's a little bit. I think people get. I don't think it's quite fair when people judge it like it was like a really well thought out thing. It's like, no, like Trent said, he's got the anger and he's just losing his shit. And then afterwards, I'm sure he's like, God damn it, I felt like a real jerk off now that I did that,
Yeah. No, I mean, Links Gems got into like how you actually open the door. It's a loop and cord pull to open the opposite door. It's like a whole system. It's a pulley system. People were getting real deep into like they're from 1920s. They're original. You don't know who. I mean, I can read through it. I mean, Links Gems is one of our favorite people of all time.
Yeah, give us a little bit of it.
The lockers at Oakmont are iconic and historic. Their original construction dating back to 1903. They have features that you'll never see anywhere else, like Prohibition booze lockers, bottom left, that were installed in the 1920s, and the loop and cord pull to open the opposite door. The spike marks seen at the bottom from players putting on and tying their metal spike shoes span more than a century of golf here, and any lover of golf history can't help but speculate as to who left them. Perhaps Ben Hogan or Arnold Palmer, maybe Sam Snead or Bobby Jones, and wonder who once sat where you're sitting now. Each time I had the good fortune and today, Junior, and privilege to visit Oakmont, I look forward to visiting this historic room. And each time I walk in, I immediately feel that I'm in one of golf's hallowed spaces, a living museum. It's a feeling that causes an immense respect for the fact that I am a visitor in a place that is not mine, and for the hospitality I'm being shown by those who would have me there. If you've been to Oakmont, you felt it and you know it.
Wyndham Clark ready to kick right through all those words and break one of those lockers.
You have been to a historic church or great museum, a truly special place in nature, or even a historic courtroom, you've got the idea of what you'd feel. Oakmont is a National Historic Landmark, and its fabled locker room truly is a museum within a museum. So yeah, I mean, I get what he's saying. We love Links Gems. That's not to like poke fun at him. He obviously takes things extremely seriously in the game of golf, which we love about him. Like, go follow him, by the way, on Instagram. He takes the best drone shots and best photography of golf courses you'll ever see. And he puts out an awesome end of year calendar that is all for he actually donates all the money. It's all for charity. It's an amazing thing. So
great
Links
captions
Gems,
too.
Amazing
great
guy.
captions out of him.
Yeah, he's the greatest. We used him as a narrator in one of our Brendan, what was it?
Is it National?
No, I think it was
Sand Hollow.
Sand Hollow when we were in Utah.
Right.
In Utah, wow.
Yeah, we used him as a narrator for the golf course.
And then he took me. I went to go interview him for that, and he let me play Sleepy Hollow with him. All-time guy.
Yeah, he's an all-time guy, and he gets the whole history behind it. Listen, like you guys are saying, I mean, Wyndham Clark, He's a guy's guy. He's an athlete. He played other contact sports growing up. He was able to show more aggression in that than he was in golf. And that's just the kind of guy he is. He's like, let's go. I want to play well. And if I don't, I'm pissed at myself. I'm pissed at everyone around me. And that's okay in sports. That's where the fire comes from. I just think that this probably infringes a little bit on like disrespect, which he probably immediately regretted. And just like Rig says, we don't know what the fallout of this was. We don't know if he immediately kind of fixed what he did or tried to, amend his mistakes right there, then and there, like saying, hey guys, I fucked up just now. I know Sam Snead sat there and did his spike shoes, but like, I can't take that back. I want to do the new pull. I want to do the new pull system. I didn't kill anybody, like I absolutely caved in 2 lockers. Okay. Bobby Jones's spirit actually went out of the locker and I saw it go through the fire extinguishing vent and it's gone. So like, I need to let you guys know that just happened. And here's $1,000 for each locker. I'm not like anti Wyndham Clark because he caved in, a locker. I just think that this is a shitty situation. At some point you got to know where you are and like what you're doing. And he just lost his cool for a second. Have we even heard confirmed reports that it was him, by the way, as we're recording this?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I'm with you. I think it's...
I mean, people want him off the PGA Tour. You know what I mean? Like,
that's crazy.
They want him completely suspended from USGA events.
I don't know I don't even know how to address those people. It's also like, listen, if you want to get down to brass tacks, like the things that there's probably been fistfights in the Oakmont locker room. Like, it's been around for 100 years. Like that place, things are going to get broken in a place like that. Like it's certainly a news item, but I don't think it's the end of the world. And I certainly don't think he should miss any events because of it. That's insane people talk.
Well, the original tweet was from Tron from No Laying Up, and then Nuclear Golf did a tweet where it was like nuclear, like Wyndham Clark has gone nuclear. Wyndham Clark allegedly damaged several lockers in the changing room at Oakmont Country Club following a miscut per Tron. Additionally, Clark recently destroyed a T-Mobile sign at the PGA Championship not long ago. So like they're saying that this guy's like out of control. And then Graham McDowell quote tweeted that and said, "This is minimal in regards to what I've seen other players do. Players you would never expect. Oakmont will test any player's mental fortitude. I've seen it in person. Guess who? 2016. Now, who the hell do you think that was? Like he's claiming someone at Oakmont in 2016, like, I don't know, defecated in a locker. You know what I mean? Like he's saying like, this isn't even close to what, Graham McDowell saw like a dead body get pulled out of the ground and like, resurrected and then killed again in the locker room.
Wow.
I want to find out who that is.
If there's any, detectives out there, try and guess who you think Graham McDowell's talking about.
I'm going to ask his ass right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to say, did you witness?
Show? Be like, hey, can we send you a link? I want to hear it from his voice. He's not going to.
He might not want to reveal it.
No, he won't.
That would be. I think he's going to want an off the record answer.
I said, did you witness someone murder someone else at Oakmont?
In 2016, is that what the date was?
2016, yeah, 2016.
Just Graham McDowell almost won last week on the Live Tour. I was tuning into that Live Golf Virginia, which had a great leaderboard, and I saw Graham McDowell was out there leading the tournament for a little while. I ended up coming up just short, but we'll see what he says. If he responds, I'm going to send him a link. Be like, you jump in here, and let's get a little chit chat going in.
We got to get to Rory, but what do you guys think Rocco Mediate felt today? Just seeing his face just pop up on the, you're watching the U.S. Open. You're like, oh, these fucking guys are getting crushed out here, man. That's a pretty bad look for some of these guys. And all of a sudden, bam, we tune in to Rocco Mediate versus Tiger Woods, the most historic comeback in U.S. Open.
There might have been a ratings bump during that. There was so much hype around that. It was so different. I mean, it's Torrey Pines. It's beautiful. Oh. It's a great golf tournament. Tiger Woods is involved, so you're already like, fuck yeah. We went from rainy, very rainy and gross Pennsylvania to beautiful San Diego, California. Tiger Woods is involved. We all know how it's going to end, but we all get to pretend like we don't. Starts in the third round. he's making these 2 eagles on the back, and you're like, yes, give it to me.
Flag sticks and dropping in. He's cracking up. Like, people are laughing on the golf course.
Right. He's high-fiving guys after the 3rd round, and then they jump right to the 4th round. You're like, I don't know what's going to happen here. And he's making the run. He's on 18. He's got to do, you know, and you're just like reliving it. And you kind of forgot that the Oakmont 2025 US Open was happening. And I was just back in 2008 being like, I vividly remember them showing Rocco's reaction to his putt on 18 and him going, I knew he'd make it. I knew he'd make it. And that's like a core memory for me in my Tiger lore. And yeah, it was like a really fun rewatch. And then, you know, begrudgingly, we had to go back to the 2025 US Open at some point.
Dude, the best is Rocco Mediate when he made his putt. When Rocco Mediate finished his 18th hole, he putts, takes off his hat, and he goes, I don't know. He's shaking everyone's hand, being like, I don't know if it's gonna get it done. And he's like talking real fast and nervous. And he looks at his caddy and goes, I just don't know. And you just know that this tiger is fucking lurking in the distance that's just gonna beat you. Like, he knew. And then when it goes in, he goes, I knew it. You know, he's just like nervously looking around, being like, I knew it was gonna go in.
When that putt goes in,
turn into like Nate Barstool. Like, I just
when that putt goes in, I mean, the rules have changed now, but you have been signed up for 18 holes against Tiger Woods, you versus him. And you're like, okay, that sucks. Like, that sucks ass, dude. Like, if that putt, which a lot of people watch it today and have talked about it for a long time, it could have lipped out Tiger's putt. And it's just like, it's because it's Tiger Woods that it goes in. But if that lips out, Rocco wins and he's like, oh my gosh, I took down Tiger Woods. Nobody does that. Instead, he's got a full 5-hour round with Tiger Woods now on Monday morning. And it's like, that sucks. Sucks.
That, God, that tournament was as good of a U.S. Open or major as there's ever been. That action on Saturday afternoon of Tiger going from like 5 shots back to holing 2 different eagles and then holing that chip in and then grimacing. I can't even walk, and he's holing all these fucking eagle shots, and everybody's like, what is happening? And then, dude, on Sunday, you would imagine like on Sunday, the entire U.S. Open coming down to like Tiger Woods having to make a putt on the 72nd hole to force a playoff. You can't dream anything up like that. Of course, he just fucking absolutely buries it. It's funny because, dude, I've seen all those, like, we all have seen the clips a million different times, but it's so much different when you watch the full, like, broadcast of it all playing out is wildly different. And like him backing off all kinds of shots and stuff. Like, I didn't even know that he would, you know, any of that he had like backed off shots. He was trying to get comfortable. He's like, he took like on the 18th hole on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday when he made the eagle, he took like 15 practice swings on the tee box. Tiger did. It's like watching him stand there. I was like, this guy's trying to figure it out. So yeah, that was what a
even
move.
When he's standing about to hit his 3rd shot on Sunday on the 18th hole, that's when you're like watching a guy. He's almost just standing there, feeling the wind, and he's trying to figure out what he wants to do. And he seems like the only guy on planet Earth at that moment where he's just, because you know he's got to put it close, and then he's obviously got to make the putt, and he's taking in. That's a level of golf that no one else gets to. He's getting information that I don't even know what it is, but he hits a nice little shot up there and obviously makes the putt. But yeah, you are right. Watching the full broadcast brings in a whole different level of understanding of what those days were like.
Yeah, the conversation between him and Stevie, even on that second shot on, is it 13, that first eagle on Saturday that he had, where he's just like, they're going back and forth on club talk, and like he has that iron and it's glistening right behind the ball in the rough. Like everyone had kind of stood over where the ball was, and the ball's just teed up for him, and he just smokes the shit out of this iron, hits the back of the green. You're like, all right. And just that putt that goes from across the back of the green to the front, nails it. Stevie Williams, like holding the pin, kind of like tending it for him, and then like going nuts when it goes in, like the whole world knowing that Tiger now is a problem. Like that feeling we'll never get again. We watch majors like crazy. Scottie is a problem. He always is going to be a problem, the way that he hits the ball, like right now in his prime. But Tiger was a fucking problem. You know what I'm saying? When that first eagle went in, the whole place was like, all right, this guy's still 3 back. And like and it's Saturday, and everyone's like, oh, this guy's gonna win, right? Hey, people in the crowd are like, it's him. He's gonna do it now. You know what I mean? It's also everyone ahead of him. Who was one of the guys that they showed that was playing a Rocco Mediate? Oh, Hunter Mahan's out there with his fucking blonde ass goatee. Like he's like, I'm fucked. I am
chunking chips.
I am fucked out here. You know what I mean? There was a whole group of guys in the mid 2000s that got fucked by Tiger Woods.
The number one guy, maybe Lee Westwood. They cut to Lee Westwood. You're just like,
dude, his hair's coming out like it was attached to that.
Dude,
visor.
it wasn't the Tiger. It wasn't that. Oh my God, we're watching the 2008 U.S. Open again. It wasn't seeing Tiger in the blue and then Tiger in the red. Wasn't even seeing Rocco. I felt like I got into a time machine when they finally cut to Lee Westwood, and I was like, this guy's never going to get it done. And I was just I felt like I was 20 years in the past. Like, he's never going to get it done, and he does it.
I honestly was surprised they hadn't like AI'd him out of the coverage. I was like, why is Lee Westwood playing the 18th hole? Like, he's not going to make birdie. Are you fucking crazy? Get him out of here. And so, yeah, that part, like, they're like, Lee Westwood's hitting his putt to like force a playoff for the US Open, and they're just showing Tiger Woods reading his putt. Like,
he's got no
Tiger's
chance.
walking around in circles, and they're just showing Tiger, like, yeah, this other guy's putting, so Tiger's reading his putt.
The other thing that was jarring to me, and it's my turn to be the old man on the podcast. No phones really in 2008. It was just people just standing there, and it's so. And I'm not even saying it like it's a good or bad thing, but it's so different. You watch now, everybody, even when, no disrespect, like Adam Scott he's just made a couple of double bogeys and he's out of it. But if he comes anywhere near the gallery, everybody's like, "Oh look!" And then they got the camera on the ball and they're like, "Wow!" And then they're never going to watch that video ever again. That goes right in their phone and they never see it again. Back in 2008, people are just like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy," and they're clapping, and then they're going crazy, and it was much different. It's pretty jarring, actually.
You go to a payphone, you call your like brother-in-law and tell him exactly what you just saw at Torrey Pines. Like, you won't believe the spot that we were just in. We saw Lee Westwood get murdered by Tiger Woods.
It's honestly the Masters now, right? Because they got no phone. So it's like when you watch the Masters, it's so cool watching people watch it. But were you guys watching that in real time?
Yes.
The 08 one?
I wasn't glued into professional golf as much as I wish I was when I was like 13 and 14 years old. Like, it just wasn't like I obviously was a huge Tiger fan, I was a huge Tiger fan in the sense that like he was the guy that I knew, and I played all the video games and I was golfing on my own, but I wasn't like glued into like what he shoot on Saturday. I don't think I knew golf like that yet, which I wish that I was like 18, 19, because that's when I started to be like, all right, I want to know everything about these guys.
Well, I remember we would go down to the lake of the Ozarks all the time for summer. We were doing a lake trip that weekend. And so on Saturday, we were like out on the lake and didn't get back in time to see the whole thing. But we saw like the last couple holes of Tiger's round on Saturday. We saw him chip in and then saw him make the Eagle 8 and being like, oh my God. And then the next day we drove back from the lake. So we didn't see much of the round. And like one of the first things that we saw was like the last two holes. So I remember watching Tiger have that putt in real time and it being the most nervous I've ever been over any athletic sports moment in history. And then when it went in and Dan Hicks says, like, expect anything different, it was the most perfect call ever because, yeah, you were standing there being so nervous. And then when he said that, you're like, oh, yeah, of course I shouldn't have been nervous. Of course he fucking made the putt. Like, obviously he's going to make the putt. You like, why would you expect anything different? But God, that putt is just like the most clutch putt in the history of fucking golf, dude. That 15-footer, it's bouncing all over the place. He just has to make it. Otherwise, all that other bullshit was for nothing. All the chip-in eagles and all the cool stuff, and he's hobbled around on one leg, it all would have meant literally zero. Like, if that putt just misses and then Tiger's just standing there sad and then Lee Westwood's like putting out or whatever he's doing, it's like that would have just been so shitty. And no, of course, he just drills this putt.
My heart was pumping rewatching it. That's how you know it's like you know what's going to happen. Clearly, this happened 17 years ago, but you're just like, man, it was that big of a moment. He was clearly on. I mean, he was just the guy, and he'd been the guy at that point for a long time. And it's like, you do think he's going to make it, but the thing that you didn't think was that he could keep doing it, like that it was possible. Like you're like, how long is this run of dominance going to go? Like, we're now on the tail end of the 2000s, and it's like, this guy is still fucking Tiger Woods, and then he does it again, and you're like, of course he did it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things he did, especially for kids my age, was like, I guess, false sense of confidence in the game of golf, where it's like, oh, this game's easy. Like, this guy's out here just making everything and winning everything. Like, every putt goes in. Like, it can't be that hard. You know what I mean? Like you just said, like, did you think anything else? Like, did you expect anything else? Like, every putt he attempted went in. Every big clutch moment he did it. So it's like, oh, I'm going to go out there with my dad. I'm going to play this game. Like, this is awesome. Like, I just get to do that and like fist bump all around. And then you realize it's the hardest game in the world. And what he's been doing has been quite literally impossible.
Golf is hard, but getting your protein can be easy because One Bars made protein bars perfected with one Reese's Peanut Butter Lovers and one Hershey's Cookies in cream, 18 grams of protein, only 3 grams of sugar. No joke, I had one of these right before the show started. It was kind of an in-between spot. It was late afternoon, not quite dinner time yet. So I had myself one of the cookies and cream, 18 grams of protein bar. They're absolutely delicious. I keep them in my fridge so they're cold, you know. I like to have the cold one. Oh, they're great.
Dude, they sent me, and I don't know if this is breaking news. I doubt it is. But if
You're
it
talking
is,
Hershey's bar.
I'm talking Hershey bar. They sent me. I mean, I've got the Reese's one. I've got the cookies and cream one. Now I've just got the old school Hershey's chocolate bar, and those are delicious. They're so good.
1 gram of sugar. Yeah.
Right? They went from 3 grams of sugar to 1.
The Hershey bar is just the good old fashioned Hershey's chocolate bar. It's 1 protein bar, Hershey's flavored. And it says 18 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar. So you've got obviously the 18 grams, 3 grams of sugar here. Go get it. Go get it so that we're not lying. I'm telling you right now, this new, and I don't know if it's even out yet, so you might have to take this out, Brendan. This is breaking chocolate news. This is breaking protein bar news. We got this box right in Trent's hands right now. There you go. 18 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, Hershey's double chocolate flavored with other natural flavors, protein bar by 1. Round of applause for Hershey's.
They're
Let me
so
tell you
good.
something.
Yeah.
Absolutely love a Hershey's bar. There's really nothing better. It's iconic. You click off the little squares, the rectangles. The fact that we've got that now in the 1 protein family. Come on, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Getting numbers down too. This is fantastic stuff.
Make sure you can check out, by the way, the Reese's Peanut Butter Lovers protein bar on Amazon. You want to check that one out on Amazon, so make sure you check those out. They really are absolutely delicious. Low sugar, high protein, pure deliciousness.
Fantastic stuff. We love 1.
With Shipsticks, it's stress-free airport travel. No more wrestling with oversized bags or worrying about your clubs getting lost in transit. Shipsticks takes the stress out of airport travel. I flew last week without my golf clubs. We went up to Pittsburgh, and I just cannot tell you how much nicer it is. Shipsticks allows that for you when you go on a golf trip, wherever the hell you're going with them. It just changes the entire traveling experience. It's so convenient.
It's way better.
It's preposterous how much better it is. And you know, I'm now at the helm of these buddies golf trips that I book each year, and I'm the one that's like kind of trying to coordinate everything. And it's like I try and tell everyone, when we have a connection, there's no other option but Shipsticks at this point. You just don't want to go on a trip with the anxiety and the fear that your clubs are not going to make it to your final destination. These golf trips are quick. That you fly in on Sunday night, your first tee time is 7 a.m. that next morning, and then you're going. You're playing 36. The next day you're playing. If your clubs get shipped to like the Dallas Holding Center for Delta, and you like can't get your clubs back, you're playing with rentals. You paid $1,200 to go to this beautiful resort. You can't have that happen. You're spending money to go on these trips. You're flying across country. You're going to these locations. Just bake this into the price of being like, they're going to come pick them up from my house, and they're going to drop them off at the golf course. Done. See you later. Put everything you need in the bag and ship it to the golf course. Simple as that. Stress-free. What a product.
Use the code, too, by the way. Our code, FOREPLAY20. It's FOREPLAY20 at shipsticks.com. You're going to get 20% off. You get 20% off your next shipment. It's that simple. Go to shipsticks.com and use the code FOREPLAY20.
Very, very difficult to stay that consistent and level-headed and just like, maybe not level-headed, but like just really just geared towards winning. And because then you got guys like Rory McIlroy, and you know, I don't want to keep going on this parade of like this victory parade that I got it right and that I've got this guy pegged correctly. But I've been saying ever since Rory McIlroy won that goddamn Masters, this guy is on like a retirement tour a little bit mentally. What the hell is going on with him? Some of these quotes from Rory McIlroy are outrageous. They're outrageous. He's like, I don't care anymore. It's essentially what he's like, I do not have to care and I don't care.
Do we have the clip? Because I would love to watch it, because
we've got the full. He did like a 3-minute
Let's watch it.
kind of gaggle or whatever the hell they call it on Saturday, and I sent it to Jonesy, and Jonesy's got it. Let's go through this whole thing and just stop it when we need to. But this is Rory McIlroy after not doing media. He did his pre-tournament presser. He didn't do media Friday or Thursday. He didn't do media Friday. He didn't do any media during the PGA Championship after his rounds. And then Saturday, he's like, I'll talk to some reporters. And this was it. So let's start this thing.
Rory, can you just give us an assessment of your US Open so far?
Pretty average.
I mean, you look frustrated out there at times. How difficult is it to stay patient?
Yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game this week, is staying patient and try to do a good job of it out there. But it's just, it's one of those golf courses that you can lose patience on pretty quickly.
What would you take away from this week? Is it just a case of setting this aside and trying to get back to the form you showed earlier in the year?
Yeah, I've driven the ball better. I've driven the ball as good as I have in a long time. So, that's at least a positive this week.
Or are you after the final 15?
Just giving him nothing.
Pause it for 1 second. We're already at a point in this Roy interview where normally when you ask Roy questions, he gives really thoughtful answers. He's got 3 questions and has answered 0 of them so far.
When you're in a Rory McIlroy kind of like interview gaggle thing, you're not expecting to get a question in because he's giving 5 minutes of time. The first 2 guys that ask questions, he's going to give 5-minute long answers. So if you're like questionnaire number 9, you don't even have a question prepared because he's not getting to you. Rory in 46 seconds has blown through 4 questions and now they're coming to you. They're going to like Golf Newsweek New Zealand.com in the back, and that guy needs to ask a question at some point.
Yeah. They're going to like Kyle Timms, who somehow has a media credential and is at the fucking US Open. All right, play it.
I was hoping to play better, but I didn't.
Oh, God.
At the moment, because obviously it's a little bit of a flat spot. But you're the Masters champion, and you had fantastic form before the Masters, and it's obviously gone a bit flat.
Yeah, I alluded to it in my pre-tournament press conference. You don't really know how it's going to affect you. You don't know, how you're going to react to such a, I wouldn't say a life-altering occasion, but at least something that I've dreamt about for a long time. And I've alluded to the fact that I have felt a little flat on the golf course afterwards.
You did show great fight yesterday. You were 8 over par after 3 holes of round 2. You could have easily kind of said, this is open, this is so tough, but you fought back 200 in the last 15, not just to make the cut, but to give yourself a half shot. Yeah,
it's funny. It's much easier being on the cut line when you don't really care if you're here for the weekend or not. I was sort of thinking, do I really want 2 more days here or not? So it makes it easier to play better when you're in that
pause that.
This is a little bit of
That's one of the most shocking things I've ever heard. But honestly, about as honest of a thing as he's said in the last 2 months, which is like, he truly just didn't care if he was going to be here on the weekend or not.
That's a verbal punch to the Oakmont lockers. You know what I mean? Like, that is shattering to the USGA, being like, all right, I guess one of the greatest players of our generation just didn't care about this because the Masters was the only thing he cared about. He already got his 4 majors. He did not give a fuck out here, and he's saying it.
He has the demeanor of a guy who, like, these reporters kicked down his door and he was in a REM cycle and they woke him up and they started asking him questions. His demeanor is really interesting.
And the shocking part too about the not even really caring if he, made the cut or not is like, dude, he made the cut at, I think 6 over is when he made the cut at. So then if he goes out there and he just shoots a Johnny Miller 63 at Oakmont, which again, unbelievably hard, maybe the best round of all time, but it's been done before, then he would be 1 under par, would have won the golf tournament. So it wasn't like going into the weekend even that he was like that far out of it. I mean, look, McIntyre was 9 shots back at one point today and almost won the damn golf tournament. So for him to be like that checked out that early in the event is him saying that he really just didn't care that much the whole week. It's like, crazy. What do you mean? I know. Play it.
feel you can get yourself out of, or is it just something you've never experienced before and you just have to find your way along?
I've certainly experienced times where I haven't played the way I've wanted to. So yeah, like it's not. I actually feel like I've played okay this week. It's just, it's a sort of golf course where the tiniest mistakes get penalized a lot, and that's sort of how it's felt this week.
Rory, how hard is it out there? How mentally taxing is it?
Yeah, it's very difficult. You got to be on every single shot. If you miss a fairway, you're going to be scrambling for par. If you miss your landing spot, even coming from the fairways by a couple of yards, these greens, repel the ball into rough, and you're up against collars, and it just makes things, very, very tricky. So yeah, you gotta be totally on your game. I think it was easier today. Yeah, I think it was for sure.
Might be the shortest answer he's ever given about anything.
Majors round kind of stepped away. Has that been part and parcel to the frustration on the golf course? What do you attribute?
Oh, here we go.
No, not really. It's more a frustration with you guys.
Yes.
I'm just, I don't know. I mean, I've been totally available for the last few years, and I'm not saying maybe not you guys, but maybe more just the whole thing.
So pause out there real quick. What I don't get with this part is I really don't know what he's even that upset about with the media ever since the Masters. I feel like he gets treated as positively by the media as anybody in the game of golf. So, I don't feel like he's gotten dogged or anything.
It honestly might be just like a buildup of over, I don't know, go back 2 years, 3 years, certainly with the LIV and the PGA Tour stuff, where he's just, everything that he says gets recorded and it certainly makes a headline. And then a lot of the things that he said when he got rug pulled by, Jay and the PIF, like now you got to answer questions about that. And it's like, it's not necessarily the media's fault, I guess, because these are things that are happening in the world and he's saying them. And then, the opposite happens and you kind of get put through the ringer. I would imagine it's not just over the last couple of months. I think it's the last couple of years.
Also, as much as I love Rory, like it's easy to say you didn't. Now I'm just going back to what he said before. It's easy to say you didn't care, like after you kind of played poorly. But like when you're on the golf course and you're tossing golf clubs, we talked a lot about Wyndham Clark, like showing a lot of aggression in the locker room. Rory McIlroy was tossing clubs like all weekend long. Like it was going viral every time he was helicoptering irons down the Oakmont fairway. So like he obviously wanted to strike the ball better than he was. So he did care in the moment. So I mean, whenever you have a mic in front of you, it's easy to be like, well, I have four. I have the Grand Slam. I do not care. Like, I don't know if you guys care, but I don't care. I didn't care at all the whole entire week.
I do think like I do think he's admitting and talking about that he doesn't like care to the degree to be like motivated to do what it needs to do to like win.
Yeah, I get that. It just comes off a little bit. I saw a lot of people being like, I mean, you guys are always on Bryson for like having all these different types of takes, and the whole media is always on Bryson for being like a little petty or a little bitchy sometimes, and like always complaining about things. And then Rory's always the golden child in a lot of PGA Tour fans' eyes, but then like he goes out there and says he doesn't care about winning because he's already won, and he doesn't care about the cut line. He's throwing clubs, and like it's just like a bad couple of weeks for Rory at this point, where he's kind of turning heel. And I don't know if that's his plan, and maybe to expand on Trent's point, like, yeah, he has been the guy that's been thrown in front of microphones for years. And now maybe the fact that he held it all together to just achieve this lifelong achievement, he finally got there. All the stuff that he had to put up, all the bullshit he had to put up with by being the spokesperson for the PGA Tour during the most turmoil, chaos-filled time in PGA Tour history, he had to be the guy that was speaking on behalf of a whole league. Maybe he feels like, now that I got it all done, I'm fucking done with all you guys. You know what I mean? Like, it has nothing to do with you personally or any event or anything, but like, I'm just done talking because I did it and I don't give a fuck anymore. I did give a fuck because I needed to be that guy. I needed to hold it all. I needed to hit balls into a screen with no numbers. I needed to fucking keep my game to the top it could possibly be. I needed to go win Ryder Cups. I needed to do it all. And now that I've done it, don't ask me for nothing. Dishes, nothing. I'm done.
I agree with that. Press play on this because I think there's a point here where that is like really interesting to me. So press play.
Yeah, I mean, that was a part of it. Yeah, that was a part of it. But it's not as if like at Augusta I skipped you guys on Thursday. So yeah, it's not as if it's not out of the ordinary. I've done it before. I'm just doing it a little more often.
Is it part of the you kind of carried the tour with your awards for 3 or 4 years now? You feel like you've earned a break?
I feel like I've earned the right to do whatever I want to do. Yeah.
You have, in relation to that, kind of almost addressed the fact that the tour does not require that kind of thing. It's almost like you're daring them to do so.
Yeah, I mean,
in some way. Is that, in terms of a requirement?
No, I'm not daring them to do anything. I hope they don't change it, because it would, it's a nice luxury to have. But I'm just pointing out the fact that we have the ability to do it.
What do you look for tomorrow?
Hopefully a round in under 4.5 hours and get out of here.
That, to me, that end part was more interesting than the I can do whatever I want. He asked him, what are you looking forward to tomorrow? And he's got maybe 50 answers that he wants to give. Doesn't say anything, and it's just like, I don't know. I hope the round goes fast so I get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
He's like at a place. I don't know what I almost think I'm a little speechless. It's just like he doesn't want to do any of it anymore. And I don't blame him necessarily.
No, I think it really is a simple case of like, he won the Super Bowl, but then he still has to strap on the pads for another couple months, and like, that's just where he's at, where it's like, we laugh a lot about like, someday, man, I'm just going to throw my phone in the fucking river, and you're never going to see me on Twitter. You're never going to see me on Instagram. It's over, dude. I'm not going to email anybody. I'm just out. And like, he's reached that point to a degree, or at least for an extended period of time. And he wants to just kind of enjoy the fact that he reached the mountain. He reached Everest, as he said, and he can't really do it because he's like, Rory can't not play in the major championships. Like, that would be ridiculous, right? Like, we would be like, what is wrong with this man? If he legit was just like, I'm not playing another tournament the rest of the year because I won the Masters and it's over, you motherfuckers. It's over. I did it. People would never stop talking about it. They'd be like, you can't do that. What do you mean? Like, you have Taylor, you have all these sponsors. You have like, I think his management team would be like, no, your brand, like, we need you out there doing the golf. Like, Whoop, he's in all this stuff that like he needs to be playing golf. So he's kind of stuck. Like, no. You know what I mean? He's like,
dude, there is a part of me that like he might just be like, no, I'm just gonna go sit by a lake and like, no, like,
did
I'm
something
not gonna
set him off though? Like, do we think? I mean, it is a little bizarre that it's just like everything's turning negative for him after he won the biggest thing. I know I just gave my point, but like I'm saying, like maybe he's just like, fuck all y'all, I did it. And I've been waiting to tell you to go fuck yourself until I want it. But like, did something set him off where he's like, oh my God, like I did this thing and you're still all over me, the media? You know what I mean? Like, was it something with Monahan behind closed doors with like Liv versus PGA? Is he there's so much speculation of like, is there something going on that he feels like he's been wronged, even though he deserves to like not give a fuck about this anymore? And he's now like parading around saying how much he doesn't care. So I don't know if that's like an indirect message to someone or, just media in general. I don't know. It's very strange. Like, he could just be doing a victory tour. Even if you don't play well, you could just be doing like a victory lap.
I agree. That's the part that's so weird to me is like, dude, if after each round at the PGA, he just did media for 5 minutes and was his normal self and did that after each round at the US Open, I think that all of the public perception of him right now would be great. Be like, oh yeah, Rory won the Masters. He's fucking great. He's Rory. And instead, it's almost like he has skipped media and then he's had sort of these like bitchy type of answers. It's so, make no mistake about it. My meter on Rory is significantly lower right now than it was after the Masters. I'm like, I just think that it wouldn't have been that hard to navigate this much better. And instead, he is almost, by like declining media, he's making the media like worse. And it's like, no, you're great with the media. It's like surprising that he's done that. And then when he has, after declining media, when he has said yes, he kind of gives interviews like that. where it's like he's not fully being even truthful, where it was like he's like almost doesn't want to admit the whole thing, which is that like, dude, I'm done. He's like alluded to it a couple different times. He sort of said like, oh yeah, I'm kind of struggling to find some motivation. I do feel a little bit flat on the golf course since Augusta. Instead of kind of just fully saying it, it feels like he doesn't want to go there, where it's like, that's fine, dude. I think most people would understand that. So I'm with you. He could be doing a victory tour right now. He could just show up wearing the green jacket everywhere he goes. Yeah. It could be funny. It'd be great. And instead, he's somehow brought all this scrutiny on himself for no reason, it seems like. Like even the driver stuff that he was all bitter about is like not that big of a deal. People's drivers fail and are non-conforming all the time. Like it's not that wasn't even like an indictment upon him. And he seems to be pretty like, annoyed about that. So it's very bizarre. The whole thing's quite bizarre.
Yeah, no, he's definitely, people like him less and less every time he does something like this. I, on the other hand, I find it pretty interesting. I think your point about whether or not it's truthful or not is interesting. I actually was thinking that like he's always truthful. It feels like when he gives answers that like this is him, like he can't hide it. Like I think if he were doing a victory tour and was just sort of bullshitting through it, that would feel fake. But I think him genuinely feeling like I did it and I'm kind of done with all this, that's like as honest as it gets, and people fucking hate it and I get why. But he's kind of like, I don't know, I kind of did the thing and now I'm kind of fumbling through all these interviews and I'm skipping media, but like the honest truth that he's alluding to with his actions are like, I'm just kind of done with it for now.
The writing's on the wall. It's just all over his face. Like there's a world in which he could have came out and just been like, hey guys, for the next 6 weeks, I ain't going to answer a single one of your questions because I just don't care about golf right now. Like I'm just going to show up. I'm going to try and win. But like, you're going to ask me to do interviews. I'm just going to decline them. It has nothing to do with you guys. I love you guys. I'm going to buy you all pizza. I think it's going to be great. We've had a great relationship. I've always been very candid with you. I'm just not going to answer questions because I don't care. I'm going to be with Poppy. I'm going to be with the family. I'm not answering questions. If I win the Masters, if I win another major, if I win another event, I'll come on here. I'll hold the trophy. Just give me a break for a little bit. I think everyone would be like, it would be like funny. It'd be like, all right, go get him, Rory. But instead, he's just been like, I have a problem with you guys. Like,
that was crazy.
So of course,
I agree.
You get a little crazy like that, and people are going to start asking more questions. So he's a professional golfer, and these people, their job is to like report on professional golfers. So like, it's not that crazy that they're like trying to pry answers out of the most recent Grand Slam winner. He's got to have a level head to understand why people are asking him questions. I mean, come on. He's like stunned that he keeps getting asked questions. He's like, I don't get it. Like, what do you mean, dude? You are the guy that answers questions forever.
I was scrolling Twitter the other day and a picture of Leonardo DiCaprio on a yacht in the south of France came up. And we had that conversation like a month ago where he makes a movie, puts it out, does almost no press, and then you don't see him again until you see a picture like that. And like that is like that's probably the correct way to live in terms of professionally. Like the sports cycle is just so 24/7 and week to week, month to month, day to day, minute to minute that we always know where Rory is and what he's doing and what he's saying. Where if you can just do your thing and then disappear, I think that's probably the right way to live from a mental perspective.
Yeah, for better or worse. Luckily for us, for better, like sports has gotten, there's a process in which when you're a professional athlete, you have to do all these things. Every fan of that sport needs to know every single thing about everything. They want to know every decision that went into it. But for movies, they don't interview the director and the producer and the writer and the actors and the actresses and the makeup artists and all these things. Like imagine that was the same culture for sports where it was like everything. I know they go on media tours and I know you always got to be in front of cameras. And I know that your life is like you're basically in a zoo, which all celebrities are. But you're able in certain situations to be, the Leonardo DiCaprio's, the Timothy Chalamet's, where you're just like floating around wearing baggy clothes, going to Knicks games. And then the next time I see you, you're on, you're at
another
screen.
Knicks game.
Yeah. You're on the big screen or you're wherever you want to be. But for, Rory McIlroy, his tee time is 7:47 and he needs to do media at 6:25 and also at 4:15. It's crazy. It's just the culture of it. We want to know everything. And that's what you sign up for.
And you could get deeper into it where it's like, that's where the money comes from. Like people, the interest is where the money comes from. So it's But I understand. I see totally.
And
see
his
both
side's like, hey, in my rules and regulations that I just basically stated, they say that he doesn't need to do all. Like he's basically saying, like I am well within the boundaries of what I'm supposed to and not supposed to be doing. You know, they give me the right to deny you guys. So like, take it up with them. You know, it's like they're. We always find ourselves in the middle of all these things. I definitely lean more towards Rory is making this way harder on himself than he should be, because there's a lot of other avenues to be going down if you just don't want to talk to the media.
And like he's become one of the bigger, global stars in golf because of all of that stuff, because of his interviews with media and him being out there and people knowing him inside and out and being like, that's my guy. And that gets you bigger endorsement deals. It gets you bigger chunks of companies that want to partner with you, all of it. And so it's like, he knows that, right? He like weighs all of those things. So that's again why it's just weird. And it must be really weird being Rory, like he's always kind of had that. He's always had a little bit of an edge to him, I would say. And like with the cell phone guy at the Players Championship, and dude, even after he won the Masters, like if you think about what this guy really, he does have an edge to him when it comes to media always. Like he opened his press conference after the Masters with like, what are you guys going to talk about next year? Like he opened it with a jab, like with a fuck you. Like I did it, fuck off. Like stop asking me questions. Like after he won the Masters.
Famous people fall into different buckets. There's a lot of them, but I think Rory's is like reluctantly famous. Like he was a kid in Northern Ireland who wanted to play really good golf and win a bunch of golf tournaments and be really just a really successful professional golfer. And with that is you become really, really, really famous, especially if you're really good, you're pretty handsome, you're interesting, you're young, you're like the protege of Tiger Woods. Like there's a lot that comes with it. But I think at the end of the day, he's kind of like, I don't love being super famous.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. I think he's had some comments right along those lines of like, I would never want to be Tiger Woods. Like Tiger Woods can't even go to dinner.
I mean, Scottie talks about it all the time, and he's been pretty good about. Scottie has to give his opinion way up more now than he ever used to, and he has to be in front of cameras and microphones, and he has his press conferences that he has to do. But you don't really see Scottie unless he's getting arrested. Like you don't see. He's just he's a homebody. He's like, I don't care about any of that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not the prince of the PGA Tour. I'm nothing. I'm just out there to just.
He says that sometimes. Sometimes he says we're all stardust and none of it matters.
Yeah. All right, stardust.
Rory might be trying to learn more from that, being like, I'm just going to be like,
Scottie. Like, look at this fucking guy making $60 million in a year, whatever the hell freaking Scottie Scheffler did last year. And he's like, he doesn't have to say a word. I'm out here fighting the Saudi Arabians. This is fucking crazy. Like I'm going to do that guy's PR class. Who the hell is in charge of Scottie? Is it the Lord?
Yeah.
I also think
it is.
The Lord. I also think there was a time, probably in the mid 2010s, where Rory was kind of letting it fly. Just like, I'm famous and I'm winning majors and I'm just famous. I'm going to live the famous life.
Ice
he started
all
wearing
over
leather for a bit. Like there was a time where he started wearing leather.
I think there was a time when he was the guy out on the town and like he was having a good time. And I think he probably learned from that. And he's just like, I want to live a more chill life. And his life has not gotten any more chill because he's just as famous and he's just as good at golf. And he just won the career Grand Slam. And it's like,
can I admit something to you though? I watched that interview and I still fucking love Rory McIlroy.
I love him.
There's part of me that's still just
can't quit that man.
Give it to him, man. Like, yeah, it's just like, I don't know. Just everything he does is kind of just interesting. I'm not saying it's right.
No.
Right? It's not right. I just spent the last 20 minutes saying that I definitely think he could be doing those guys doing the interviews. They deserve to get your piece, your statement. That's their job. It's your job. There's an agreement there somewhere that's what you've agreed to do. But everything he does just kind of gives me something, it gives me a little something, whether it's good or bad. Rory's always, no matter what the fuck happens over the last couple of years, Rory McIlroy is on the tip of our tongue, man. Just the tip of our tongue, ready to just rip.
Like we talk about Tiger, where if Tiger or if Rory did this, where if he retired and he was just like on a farm with 80 acres and was just like, this is it. This is my life now. I plant these things. I water them. I let them get sun. I harvest them when they need to be harvested. But at some point during that time, a black car is going to start driving down that dusty road towards the house. And there's something going on because that's the lives they live. They can't live lives that aren't interesting for whatever reason. And that car is going to pull up and say, bang, something's going on that needs your attention. And they're back, boom, right in the mix. That's just these guys' lives. And it's got to be draining.
I think it is draining, and I think Rory goes through streaks. I think he goes through streaks where he's happy to be the guy, where he feels like being the guy. He's happy to talk about stuff. He's kind of the media darling, and then I think he goes through streaks where he's fed up with it, and he's all set. I think right now, I mean, he kind of said it there at the end. He's like, I feel like I've earned the right to do whatever the hell I wanted, and if that means not doing media or not giving the answers that people want, or not really caring if you think you're not going to win the tournament anymore. So you're just like not really caring if you're going to play the weekend or not. That's Rory McIlroy. He can kind of do whatever he wants right now. And he did kind of finish it off. I think somebody got this quote from him today. I didn't see video of this. I was trying to find it. I just found the actual quote. But he said, if I can't get motivated to get up for an Open Championship at home, then I don't know what can motivate me. I climbed my Everest in April. And I think after you do something like that, you've got to make your way back down, and you've got to look for another mountain to climb. And Open at Portrush is certainly one of those. So maybe a sign there that he's going to try to refocus here and figure shit out so that going into Portrush, he can give it his all. If you are going to trade crypto, do it right. No sketchy platforms, no sketchier customer service. That's why we only trust Kraken. Kraken lets you buy, sell, and swap over 300 cryptos without the lag, crashes, or clownery. Buying crypto manually, that's old school. Recurring buys let you automate your investments. DCA done right. Buy more when prices dip, less when they spike, and link your bank in minutes. You set it, forget it, and let your portfolio grow. Kraken Pay, which is instant crypto payments. No more I'll Venmo you later kind of excuses, whether you're covering a lost bet, splitting the tab after a night out, or sending funds for the next wild adventure. Kraken Pay simply lets you move money instantly with zero fees and no banks holding things up. Oh, and you can refer your friends. So Kraken will hook you up with $200 in USDG just for spreading the love. So quit waiting. Head to kraken.com/Barstool. That is Kraken, KRAKEN.com/Barstool. Not investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss and is offered to U.S. customers, excluding Washington, New York, and Maine through Payward Interactive Incorporated. Move on to Scottie Scheffler real quick. Scheffler did not have his best week, yet still finished top 10. Finished tied for 7th, I believe. He was only 4 shots back. And if he would have made a couple putts today here on Sunday, he could have really been right there in the mix coming down the stretch. But a very interesting week for Scottie. Scottie's won 3 of his last 4 tournaments coming into this, and those wins were by like a million shots, and then 5 shots at the PGA, and then 4 shots or so, or 5 at the Memorial. So it wasn't like he was just winning. He was like dominating for the last 6 weeks or so. Comes in, did not have his best stuff. And I thought the real most interesting part was, you guys see some of the range footage from Scottie on Friday night when he was out there with his coach?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Man, just unlike anything you ever really see. It reminds me of the fire that he's got. I mean, after every swing, he was doing like the one-handed finish. At multiple points, he hit the ball of bags with his club, and like balls went flying out of like the golf ball bag. And then he just had the sideways hat. He was sitting there just like basically disagreeing, arguing, whatever he was doing with his coach, Randy Smith. Is that his coach's name?
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
And just kind of getting into it, which again just goes to show you, like in the game of golf, my friends, you could be unbelievable one day and feel like you're the worst player in the world the next day. Scottie's still Scottie. He was still able to get it around fine, and like I said, almost compete in the event.
Almost won the goddamn thing. There was a point where I'm like, he's going to win.
I know.
Everybody was going backwards. Everybody. That was like when
Everybody's
Rahm's
going
going to win
backwards.
this thing.
But just it goes to show you, golf's not linear. Golf is just always a fight, always a struggle. And even that man, who's the best ball striker over the last 3 years, maybe ever in any stretch of golf that we've ever seen, like this consistent stretch, 2-3 years of complete domination, standing there completely lost on the driving range in the middle of an absolute tear of winning golf tournaments, I thought was just fascinating. And it was a nice little peek into like fiery Scottie, because he seems like everything's so perfect all the time and he's so happy all the time. That's because he's winning all the time. but you kind of reminded us that the guy's got some fucking juice in there. He's got some fire.
Yeah, it also made you think that it wasn't in the beginning. You're like, oh, it's just Oakmont. And then the more you saw the frustrations with his swing and his swing coach and Ted Scott, you're like, something's just off. Like he's frustrated with the fact that he's not hitting fairways, not because of the golf course or the wind or the weather. Like Scottie feels a little bit off. And it's amazing that he's able to fight through that and still. Did he finish top 10? Was he
T7?
T7, like a Scottie Scheffler that just can't find it at Oakmont, finishing T7 in the U.S. Open is hilarious. You know, like because he didn't have it. He was missing fairways like crazy. He pulled it into the church pews, I think, all 4 days. Like,
oh, he was hitting it left, dude. He just could not hit it left.
That's just not Scottie. And I know that the golf course makes you do that. And there's blind shots and there's shots that you don't know where to go and you're just uneasy on every tee box. But dude, like that guy could hit the nail on a head 310 yards out in the middle of the fairway most weeks. If you just dropped it and said hit it right there, he could do it. Him missing that many fairways is not normal. So yeah, that just goes to show the fight in Scottie, like crazy that he's able to pull it all together and just get back. And then it was funny, I think it was this morning or maybe late last night when Ted Scott and his coach were like acting like they were screaming at each other. Did you see that one? And it got a lot of people. No. And my buddy Tom sent it in like our group chat and he's like, this is crazy. I'm like, they're just making that up. Like Ted Scott was like throwing his hat at like Scottie on the range and like Scottie was kind of giggling. He's like, you know, just like leaning over. Just like,
that's a good Scottie laugh. I think that's pretty good.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Know? Just like leaning over, like holding a club, just like.
It's a lot of shoulder movement with the laugh. For sure.
Ted Scott was like throwing his stuff and like screaming, like ah, and because Ted's like one of those guys, you know, he's a Bubba guy. Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Yeah, he's got bits for sure.
Yeah, we actually didn't even talk about it after he won. The PGA. Oh wait,
PGA.
Was it the PGA? Yeah, because it was the most recent one. It wasn't like the Masters years ago when he did that dance.
Yeah,
in the locker room. You got like all the locker room attendants. He's an interesting cat, that Ted Scott.
He is.
He likes bits. He's definitely a bits kind of guy. Oh yeah.
That's what you know. What do you think? I mean, I wish I'd looked this up. What was JJ Spaun on the DraftKings Sportsbook pre-tournament? Like,
I think it was like 12,500 plus 12,500.
Yeah, I mean, Scottie was plus
25 to 1 or something like that.
Scottie was. I mean, we were all talking about him, and it's like you just don't know. Some weeks you don't have it. Even on the like the run that Scottie's been on, where it feels like every week he's got it. You know, sometimes you're not going to have it. And he still almost won. Weirdly.
Still almost won the damn tournament. But great U.S. Open. Oakmont was kind of the real star, like you said. And then, of course, our boy, JJ Spaun. We're going to try to get JJ on this week. I don't really know. I can't even imagine what going through your phone would look like after something like that happens, right? Like,
crazy.
After you win the United States Open, you know, like if we have a video out there that goes like a little bit viral, we get an amazing amount of like text and action on your phone. Winning the U.S. Open, especially with your JJ Spaun, and I say that as like you're closer to like a normal person than like Scottie or Rory are at this point. So like people might not even feel like they can text Rory or like Scottie. I feel like JJ Spawn's just got like a really normal network of friends and people, and like I can't fathom what that phone must be like. So I fired him a text. We're going to try to get in touch with him and try to get him on the show here before too long. I try to get him on as soon as we can. But yeah,
Frankie, before we go, can you give me 30 seconds on a reaction to the Rafi Devers trade as a Yankee fan?
Stunning. Got swept by the Red Sox. The guy hit home runs this weekend, and then I think he had 2 home runs, and then just gets traded to the Giants for what I think is like nothing. What I'm reading is he signed this huge mega contract, right? It's like $300 and something million.
Yeah.
And they're just like, we don't like think you're worth that anymore. So there's like some internal debate in the Boston Red Sox organization saying, we just signed this guy, but we don't want to keep him. Even though the fans fucking love Rafi Big Scoops or whatever Jared Carabas calls him. And they just traded him. I'm like, that was a stunning trade. Dude, I don't even think he left the ballpark yet. The game just ended.
The reason I brought it up is because it took over Twitter during the U.S. Open. Normally when the U.S. Open's going on or the Masters or any of the big golf tournaments, that's the number one thing that's going on. And boom, that happened. And instantly it was the number one thing on Twitter. And it's crazy. I mean, crazy.
Happy to have him out of the division. That's for sure. He's a Yankee killer.
Yeah.
And like I said, the Yankees kind of like had a bad weekend. And, Father's Day weekend, you've got this is like when you start to look at standings, like, let's go. Like, we're getting into the summer now. This is it. We're about to get into June, July, August. These are the dog days of baseball. You get swept by the Red Sox at Fenway. They just trade their best player. I mean, what are we talking about? Like, all right, we'll take that. Stunning. Absolutely
Crazy.
Stunning. I saw Coley Mick losing his mind and Jared just losing their mind on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
So that's fun to see from time to time. But you know what was weird? I'm sure Brendan would feel the same way. Was getting like the Father's Day text messages today from like all walks of life, and just being like, oh, like I was legitimately like reminded, like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know what to say to this.
I sent you one. I sent you one, and you hit me with a haha. Thanks.
Yeah, I was like laughing at it.
Happy Father's Day, Frankie.
Thank you, Riggs. Yeah, I mean, I just
Happy
didn't know
Father's Day, Brendan Jones.
Thank you, thank you.
It's definitely a weird one. It's got to be weird. It just happened, and now you're like, you're in that. You don't
feel like a father yet. I mean, we definitely are, but I mean, I'm 5 weeks. I mean, Brendan's definitely been in the trenches more.
It feels like a birthday. You get those texts like when you wake up. It's like a bunch of happy birthday texts.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's similar to that. It's like, oh shit, yeah. This is a day for me.
Yeah, that's me. You guys are right.
Matching shirts because my mom got us matching shirts, so I had to send her a picture of matching shirts and change into another shirt and send it to someone else that got us matching shirts. And he's just like looking at like, what is this? Why are we not just like laying down eating? Why are we wearing so many shirts? What changed about today?
Have I been thrown up? Am I thrown up on these shirts again? What am I doing? Why am I wearing so many different shirts?
I'll poop on this one. Change me, I dare you. No, it was actually good. I mean, I get why everyone gets jazzed up about US Open Father's Day. It is fun to we watched it with Don. He made sauce. He brought it over to my brother-in-law and sister-in-law's house, and we had the kids together, and you're watching golf, and it's a celebration of family. It really is. My dad was working his balls off at Borrelli's with my mom was there. They were short-staffed. I called him up. I'm like, what are you doing today? You want to come over or something? He's like, I heard pans clanging and banging. It was 9:50 in the morning. He's like, I just opened up. He goes, no one wants to work anymore. We can't get waiters. It's crazy. He's like, no one wants to work. It's a Sunday. They want to be with their families. That's okay. I'm here.
Unfortunately, I think the last 10 times I've seen your dad, at some point he says to me, nobody wants to work anymore.
It's crazy.
He'll look at me and he'll say, nobody wants to work anymore. And I'm like,
dude,
fuck.
Dude, you want to hear a hilarious story before we get going? My dad, this guy, Frank Viola, I call him this guy. This guy, Frank Viola, pitched for the New York Mets back in the 80s. He won a World Series with the Twins. Pretty legendary pitcher for for the Twins for sure. He won a World Series.
Yeah.
Cy Young Award winner. He went to East Meadow High School. So it's my high school. My dad went to East Meadow High School. And he went to school with my dad. So he comes into Borrelli's. He's been going to Borrelli's for 60 years. So my dad's on this Instagram kick that he wants to just get going and get. The other day he texted me, he goes, how do we go viral? And I was like, I don't even know how to explain this to you, but we don't just go viral. You made a chicken
It's this button right down here. If you just click that one.
He made a dish showing how you can make chicken marsala. It was a 2-minute video, and he thought that should just go viral now. Okay. I made chicken marsala, and we need to hit the viral button. So he's been just on this kick of just doing videos. So of course now he's getting all jazzed up, and I can see it sometimes in his shoulders. He starts to kind of make sure the shirt's fitting a little bit more, and his neck starts to go. And he's doing this video with Frank Viola, who came in, just a nice guy enjoying a nice meal. My dad parades him up front. He goes, so the video's on Bros Instagram. It's all time. By the way, if you haven't seen these videos, you got to go follow Bros because they are all time funny. How he just the way he talks butter, and you got to add the sauce. So he gets Frank Viola and he sends me a video and goes, can you put this up for me? And I watch it. And I know a little bit about Frank Viola because he's the most famous guy that came out of East Meadow High School. And he goes, I'm here with Frank Viola. He goes, 1986 World Series winner. And I said to myself, nope, that was the Mets. Didn't win with them. Then he goes, 1986 MVP. I said, nope, he's 0 for 2. And then he goes, 1987 Cy Young. So I stopped the video. I looked it up. He went 0 for 3 on all 3 stats about this legendary pitcher, right? And and then finishes the video and sends it to me. I go, Dad, I can't put this up. You're wrong. You got it all wrong. All of it.
And
he's
by the
like,
way,
he goes, no one will give a fuck. I'm like, everyone will give a like you. Like, these are just statistics. These are dates. Like it's not. He goes, I don't know. I just went off the top of my head. I was like, but I was like, he never won the MVP. These are just like lies. Like
Also-
he won the World Series MVP in '87 for the Twins.
okay.
And he won the World Series, and he won the Cy Young in '88. He was
Close
a year or
enough.
two off on
Put it up.
everything.
And to be clear, Frank Viola is standing right next to him.
He goes, he has the balls to tell me, he goes, he agreed with me. I'm like, this isn't opinion. Like he kept saying like, oh no, he agreed with me. It's fine. I'm like, this is not opinion. These are just like things that happened in history. This is history.
You can be a pretty general sports fan, and they'll know who won the '86 World Series. It's a very famous
I
team.
went in and I edited them, and so if you watch the video, I've now ruined how good of an edit it is. You can see him go because I put up a picture of Frank Viola, and I basically cut out all the wrongness, and it starts with Cy Young Award winner, and at the very end he just goes, all right, stay healthy, Frank, take care. It just goes take care and just sends him on his way. He wanted nothing to do with this. Is what this guy is just on an Instagram kick right now that I need people to start being a part of, because it's a wild ride.
I'm in. I'm all in.
Same.
Crazy.
Same.
He has an Italian margarita that he wants me to put up on the Instagram that he didn't make with tequila. So we got to redo it now. He made it with vodka. He says he messed up. He called me. I think I made it with vodka. I'm like, all right. So we'll make one with tequila. We'll make it right. It's unbelievable.
Okay.
He's really out of control.
He's innovating. That's innovation.
It is.
Yeah.
Instagram,
I
it's
don't
the
know what it
future.
is. It's hilarious is what it is.
All right.
Well, that's it. What a U.S. Open. USGA, great job. Oakmont, awesome spot. And JJ Spaun, congratulations. Hopefully we'll hear from him this week. But otherwise, everyone have a lovely week. And we'll be back on Thursday or potentially earlier if we get JJ Spaun. We'll put that out. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.